Hello, friends. Welcome to Heart with Saima. It's a show where we talk about, ordinary people doing extraordinary things. And we hope to talk about subjects which people generally don't want to talk about, or talk about things where we can, touch lives, we can, talk about things where we are able to impact other people's lives at the same time. And having said that, I've been doing a radio show Monday through Thursday from 10 to 12 Central Time, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Central Time. And today I wanted to bring my co-host on here and talk about some sensitive subjects, talk about marriage, talk about divorce. So without waiting, I'm going to bring Kalpana here so that we can go into our discussion. And here she comes. Hey, Kalpana, how are you?
I'm doing wonderful, Saima. How are you doing? It's good to see you back.
Yeah, second time in one day, right? Maybe that's
That's
a
true.
little too much.
Yes, and you're looking amazing. It's good to see you virtually now.
So, Kalpana, we've been, our show on 104.9 is called Women's Voice. And I
Yes,
think, it's quite a bold stance on approach to talking about subjects which are taboo subjects, talking about subjects which which a lot of people don't really want to go into and discuss. And marriage, divorce, which is our the topic of discussion for today. um, it's a very sensitive subject. It's something that people have a differing opinion on, or even though the core of the subject is the same. And we were actually discussing that this morning, right? That when we are going to go into and we talk about divorce, it's not that we are promoting it, or we are telling people to go and do it. We are just wanting to tell people that if life brings you, or if marriage brings you to that point where we where you are facing, where you're just not happy, actually. you know
saturated with, yeah, you've tried everything and then nothing's working. Yes. So,
and at that point, it's okay for you to do it. And that's the core of the discussion. That is what we are wanting to talk about. So I know that we have been talking about this subject on 104.9 FM, which is
right.
Funny Asia Radio. And I wanted to bring you on here so that we share our stance, and we share that discussion on marriage, divorce, relationships, some different things on the live stream today. So, how about I let you share a few things about yourself, who you are, what made you come. I have been live streaming my show for the past, it's now a year, and it will be a year. And it's been a very nice journey for me, an opportunity to put myself out there. 104.9 for me brings a completely different element to the live stream that I've been doing, because over there we are both bilingual. You actually are more than that. You know multiple languages, so we go back and forth between different languages. Over
Mhm.
here, my audience is it's very diversified. So of course we're going to stick to English. So I will let you share a few things about yourself.
Sure. Thank you for having me, Saima. It's really an honor to be here. Though we both share a same platform on radio, but this is something different. And it's been a pleasure to be with you. So me, I'm actually married for 24 years with two children, 21 and 17, and I have a dog. And then I'm also a proud Montessori teacher. I've been teaching from last 17 years. That's something I really love doing it. I love working with children. They teach me every day new things. And also with the period of time, I have learned so many things, especially from last 3 years. I have actually learned and discovered many things. And of course, every marriage have highs and lows. I had my highs and lows too. But I always believe in of course, it's my personal choice. As I always believe in reconciling anything that happens, and I'm a strong believer. Like I believe strongly in being opinionated and expressing what you believe in. But at the same time, having said that, I also believe in be empathetic. If somebody else is saying and giving their opinion, I do understand where they're coming from and why they're saying what they're saying. And coming to this marriage, the subject that we're going to discover today, and we're going to talk about it more. So yes, I had, I would say, like this is 24 years of marriage, and I'm happily married with my husband. Of course, every marriage has highs and lows. I have my highs and lows as well. But we learn every day at a time how to do roll my sleeves back and how to sort those conflicts that we have. And I feel that the strong woman is not about always being competing with somebody else. I feel that being strong is strong within. And regardless of all the things that happen around you, you still cherish your happiness. That's my main motto. Things go around, whatever, but it's not that you have to ignore them and not that you have to sink into them. But regardless of whatever's going around you, you have to just cherish your happiness and do what you believe is going to make you happy. That's
Um,
mostly.
and we are quite in sync with our thought process, and I think that's probably the reason why Amreen decided to probably put us together,
Yeah.
because I feel the same way. Again, I'm a very strong woman, and I've been that way. Should I say I was born that way? But I think a lot does have to do with my parents as well. They always
Of course.
left
Yeah.
that space and that room for me to be myself and for me to express, my opinion and my thoughts. And so definitely that is there. And again, from the same perspective, for me, feminism is defined very differently. For me, feminism means that you have a right to your own thoughts. You don't have to conform to others just because someone else is of a different thought process. And
Mhm.
and that it's okay to be this strong person and live your life according to live your best life, right? and
Absolutely.
and again, we are not competing with the male gender. We are just in competition with, I know I'm just in competition with myself.
Myself, yeah. No, that's true because we make mistakes. Nobody's perfect on this earth. And I always say that perfection is kind of like a feathers which always fly. It's kind of a bird which keeps flying in the air, which never lands on the ground, and which we're always in verge of catching it. And those who are in verge of catching it, they will never get it. So
Because it
I
doesn't
believe in
exist.
being brave rather than being perfect.
I don't think perfect, it's not, I don't think perfection does not exist.
Absolutely true. Yeah. Those who
And
run for it never achieve it. That's true. Yeah.
and I think the life of a perfectionist is probably very difficult because they keep seeking perfection, and because perfection does not exist, their journey just continues.
Continues. Yeah. So neither they're happy in their lives, neither they're not even finding the beauty in the surroundings. So that's what happens. Yeah.
Absolutely. And, I believe in living my best life, living in the moment, enjoying the present moment, because when you are waiting for uh, perfection to happen, you don't even realize. But I mean, who knows what tomorrow will bring around, right?
No,
So
I know.
the only thing that matters is this moment.
Very, very well said. And yes, so you were saying about marriage, right? What I believe in marriage, of course. Marriage, like I said, I think it's lots of ups and downs, and we have to work it out every single day. There a lot goes in to make this perfection go. But of course, it's a journey of two people. People cannot do it. They're just like we can clap hand with just one hand. So it has to do with both of them together, and the lifestyle makes a big difference. Like you say, my parents, I always I'm proud of the way I was brought up. Because my mother always used to say one thing that if you dig, you will get the worms. I mean, coming out of it, they just pour out. Same thing with the people too. If you just dig, you will find something, some negativity in them. But you just have to find one thing. You certainly will find that, and you have to go with that, and that was going to multiply. That's what I always believe, and I always because my mom is no more, but I that word of her always rings in my ears whenever I feel that. Oh my God, what's going on? So that thing again just like comes back in my ears at what my mom said. But having said that, I also believe, Saima, that things do happen. Some marriages don't work. Like we always discuss on a show that everything has an expiration date, whether it's commodities or the relation. Either they leave the soul and go from you, or they just ghost you, regardless if they're around you. So every relation has expiration date, and if you're working for a long period of time and you have used all your resources, whether your family friends have advised you, you went to the counselor, and you're trying to do all your best, and regardless of that, if things are not working, and if you're the one who's waiting for that one day wedge, that one day that thing's going to happen, and one day suddenly some change is going to happen. But I think that's never going to happen, because the change has to come within you the same way the
Yeah.
change has to go within the other person as well. But if you're the one who's waiting for that one day and you're not happy in your own life, I think I absolutely I understand why they took their step.
Yeah.
And you don't have to be a divorcee to speak about divorce.
Yeah.
But you also have a lot of elements. I speak to my friends and families, and I know what they went through. I know what goes on. So I feel that there are three kind of people that you have in married life. One who are happily married, like a prince and princess, that fairy tales creature that happens. One who are always contemplating marriage and always working out, always working. Something goes wrong and they reconcile. Something goes wrong, they again work out. They do discussions, which is normally is a majority. And then you have the other side of people that part three is they actually take a divorce. They don't want to be in that relation for a long period of time. Is that it's not worth it. It's not
Yeah.
worth it. Why should we keep on trying? Because there's one saying of Julia Roberts. She says that we didn't marry the person to correct the person. We married to just cherish and then do adventures with that person. So if that person is not a right one for you, I mean, it's their belief and they want to come out of it and then try something else. It's between two people. I don't think any third person has any right to judge or to blame or to even even do anything for them. I think it's the two personalities didn't get together and they chose to separate, or they chose to stay together. It's up to them.
Marriage, marriage, Kalpana, is not easy. It's just something, it's something. It's a byproduct of life, and it's not supposed to be your destination. Where if you get there, it's like the end, and that is it. And if things perhaps things work out for a certain time frame, and then you outgrow it, or you realize that when you got married in in your 20s, you were just too young. You didn't know, you didn't know what you were really seeking, and it takes time for you to understand what who you really are. It takes time for you to become the person that you're meant to be, because we spend so much time seeking, right? We spend so much time trying to trial and error, trying to become the person that we want to end up being, because as we grow up, we are a product of our surroundings. We are a product of our parents' expectations.
I agree.
uh, right, we are a product of what our parents tell us: do this, do that, this is right, this is wrong. And so we end up becoming this person, based on other people's expectations. And then we reach that point in life where we are like, something feels wrong, our soul is not at peace, our soul is searching. And you realize that you are just, you're not the person that you were meant to be, and you're searching, right?
And you hate yourself. And there's one point where you hate it. This is not what I want to be. You may start hating yourself because you're always living up to somebody else's expectation. And then when you realize that down the line, then you certainly won't like the way you have come up to.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there's a relationship expert, Estelle Perel, who I watch. I read about her books a lot, and she says, what one village used to give is something that we expect from one person in the marriage. You have to give me financial security, you have to give me emotional security, you have to give me physical security, give me this, give me this, give me this, give me this. So it's from both the sides, regardless of the gender. It's from both the sides. The husband expects certain things, that she has to respect my wife, my parents, and she has to blend in my lifestyle, etc., etc. Same thing with the wife goes to. She wants that he has to be romantic, he has to give me this, yes. So there are a lot of give me, give me, give me. When these all give me doesn't click in well and doesn't sink in a line, that's where the issue comes. And then what happens is, you either don't say it in the beginning because you don't want to jinx the marriage. Then you think about, you wait for a good moment, right moment. Okay, I'm going to say and some other time. And when you actually decide to say, the other person may say that, oh, so this is what you were thinking all this time? Why didn't you say me at that moment? Said, because I didn't want to jinx the marriage. And then that will again revolve around. And then at the end of the day, there's no right moment for it. If the other
Right.
person is not empathetic, if the other person does not want to understand what goes on in you, and if you also don't feel secure enough to express your inner feelings to the person that you married, then what is the point of living that? You always are in that kind of insecure feeling that, what if I say this is going to
It's never
happen?
the right moment.
It's never the right moment. Yes. See, marriage again, saying that you drive a car, you get a license, you get tested for whether you know properly. You get a license for flying a aeroplane, but for marriage, there's no license. It's just your age. Could be like just you said a few minutes before. There's an age to get married, and you get married.
Yeah.
Especially in Asian women, most of the time they overpower, they empower you, that saying you have to do certain things after marriage, otherwise they're going to say, haven't you learned this, didn't your mom teach you all this? So, but if the same thing goes on with the men also, if the parents teach them that you are actually bringing a girl home and you have to be nice to her, you have to provide security in every way, if these things also happen, regardless of the gender, I think the marriage will be happy ending, I would say. And marriage is meant to be happy, actually. It's just that we violate the laws. And it's written in the Bible also, in the Genesis 2.24 and 2.25, they say that if you violate the 4 laws of marriage, that means your marriage is failing.
And what are those 4 laws?
Well, it says that the first one is when the first one, they say that the man and the woman, the man leaves their father and mother and joins the new soul and becomes the one flesh. So, which means that you need to give a priority to your new soul that you brought in. Does not mean that you have to disregard your parents and just throw away from the house. No, it just means that marriage works in the first place. It doesn't work in any other place. So they say, which means that you have to give your marriage the first place always. And you have to have the balance between any relation. Because if that doesn't happen, if you don't prioritize your wife, your significant other with somebody else, then comes the jealousy, then comes the insecurity. So that's the first law, is prioritize your spouse. And the second law is give time. Because time is actually meant to be the essential commodity in any relationship. Unfortunately, these days, what happens is the electronic intrusion is happening. You sit with the next person, but you're still on your phone and you're watching everything, and the other person is saying, and you're not listening. So, time is one, I think, very important. You need to give your time. Giving gifts and going on vacation and all this is not going to help unless you don't give your quality time with your significant other. That's the second law. And the third law, they say, is a misconception. Again, like we said before, that I know a couple who actually went for a trip, for a 1 week trip, because they were always craving for that quality time between them. They went on a vacation for a week, and they spent they left their kids with their nanny or in the parents, and then they went and they spent really good time with each other. But when they came back, the honeymoon period was over, and again the same thing cycle rotated. That again, you're busy with your family, and you're not giving me enough time. And there's nothing to blame, because the mother wanted to be with the children, because she said, I spent enough time with my husband. Now it's time to spend with my children. So I think that balance was never being set in a good grounds. And the
It
last one
is
is the
it's easy to lose that balance, right? Because
absolutely.
especially if the wife is working and you're working and taking care of the kids, and I think it's just overwhelming responsibilities.
Absolutely. And the fourth law is the sharing,
Hmm.
with no exception, which means that you see, most of people have, Saima, is marriage is about, I'm not saying everybody, but most people think that marriage is about sharing the intimate relationship only.
Hmm.
But no, it's not true, because there are families who are not intimate and they have no physical relation with each other, but they still are happily married. It could be the one of the person is sick and bedridden for a long period of time, but they still have a good relationship with each other, because they are sharing other stuff with each other. They're sharing the emotional balance with each other. They're sharing the financial issues with each other. So the sharing has to be, it can be partial. You cannot say that, okay, I'm with you during the trip and I was all for you. Now I have my time. This is my, you can be dominance, because if one person is dominant and say, this is my life and this is my space and I can give you financial access, I can give you this, I can give you that. You can't say that in marriage. Sharing has to be with no exception for everything. You know what, Adam and Eve, they say that they both were naked in the Garden of Eden, and when they realized their sin, that's when they try to cover their the body parts, right? We all know that. So what Bible actually explains that is actually it's when they realized their sins, they started hiding with each other. Otherwise it's just one flesh, and you don't have to be naked with each other. But it's just like what Bible describes. And even though I try to read all this, regardless of my religion, but I do believe that this is actually applied in any religion, or any
Hmm.
relation. In fact, it's not about the religion, but any relationship. If you want to hide something, that's when you're doing something wrong. That's when you feel like hiding with your other your spouse, and that's when you're violating the law. There's no trust, and that's when, if these laws are being violated, I think there's issues in your marriage.
So, if a person starts hiding things, aren't isn't it just better for them to just end the marriage?
Well, personally, me, Saima, I would believe, I think it's my personal opinion. Again, I would want to say my word on that. I believe that give a chance, talk to them and see what they have to say. If they have a remorse, if they are, sometimes mistake happens, sometimes they may not realize until they hit the shit on the wall, the ceiling fan or something, the roof. If they realize with that push or with the discussion, okay, this is where I went wrong and I'm going to come back, which is a sleek chance in marriage, I'm sorry to say, but I know there are very rare cases which actually reconcile and bonded very well than before. But of course, if there is a trust, there's a breach in the trust and it is broken, I think, yes, I agree. If they want to come out of the marriage, it's their personal choice. But I personally think that you should give them a second chance, talk about it, and see what they have to say. If that doesn't work, then you're on your way.
So, how many chances do you think should be given?
I think just one chance. I think one chance is enough for me. Well, yeah, you don't have to give second. There's no second chance, third chance, or fourth chance. It's just a second chance. Yeah. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, you don't have that. Okay, I gave my chance and it didn't work. So It's this relation is not for me.
There are keys to a successful marriage, right? I mean, there are different things. You have to work towards that relationship. The relationship needs to have communication. You have to be able to interact with each other, be able to discuss with each other. And I think it's very important that it's okay um, for the couple to disagree with each other, because you're two different beings. You can't expect the other person, which, these are a lot of problems that we definitely see in our Southeast Asian culture, because the marriage is less between two individuals and it's more between the families, especially because the vast majority are arranged marriages, and they are arranged based on the financial status, the job, the income, and
Past, yes, I know.
right. And after all that is done, it's the okay, literally, there are times when, I mean, I have so many friends who literally saw and met with and spoke to their husband after getting married.
Oh yeah, yeah, I know them too. I know very well. That's true.
And that's
Yes, I
just like the
totally agree. And
Titan
yeah, and I
tossing the
have
dice, right?
described. That's true. I know, and I've described one of my friend, and I also write in my journal sometimes because I maintain a journal and I write down anywhere I see any good points. I just write it down. So this is something I describe marriage as, when you order something from Amazon,
Hmm.
let's say you ordering two coffee cups from Amazon. You know how it comes? It comes in a big box,
Yeah,
and the big box I describe as a friends, a society, which is very important in any relationship. Of course, you need to have your friends and your society around you, but that's not that they're not playing any crucial role unless you give them that kind of relevance to your relationship. And then comes a bubble wrap after that. After you open the box, that comes a bubble wrap. And I describe the bubble wrap as parents from both the sides. They're very delicate, but then anything pops up, I think it's going to affect the box inside, which is holding the coffee cups inside. It's important again, but again, you need to have the balance. You need to take them away when it's not, because, and then you open that small box, which is your a nice sweet home, and then you open that, and there's two cups. Now, any of these elements is not played properly, Saima, I think
there's a
there will
difference.
be a crack in that mug. So they all protect these two relationship, but does not mean that you have to give importance to everybody more than your significant other. I think you both are important than anybody else. So I described that, and she was laughing, and but I said, yeah, this is something I came up with because I myself opened it, and I was telling my husband that these two
This is
cups are
us.
you and me. Yeah, this is us, and this box is our house. Bubble wrap is your parents and my parents. Of course, my
Yeah,
parents are not there, but then, and then the box is a society who actually play some role indirectly in our relationship as well, sometimes in the life. And yeah, so there are many
absolutely.
elements contribute in making a marriage and breaking a marriage.
Absolutely. And at the end of the day, marriage is about two people, and two people and their journey. And that's what it should be about. The two people, their communication, their love for each other, because love is something which builds over time. And, the elements have to be there. And if like we talk about that everything has an expiration date. Sometimes if it runs out and people still want to live with each other, that's their choice,
Their
because they
choice.
do have that choice, and people do stay in marriages. Especially on the radio show, we have people call us all the time during our show, and they say that, what, we've been married 20, 30, 40 years, and we don't have any relationship, but we still choose to live with each other, and that is perfectly fine. To each their own. But then again, the people who do choose to go separate ways, and they do choose to end that relationship, or maybe even change the dynamics of that relationship, perhaps with with marriage there were just a lot of expectations, and but when you change the dynamics of the relationship, maybe it just changes your relationship. You end up becoming friends. I mean, I think no matter what you do, it should all be done taking into consideration, the priority should be that the hurt should be minimum,
Absolutely true. Yeah.
as difficult as that is.
Absolutely true. I know. And this, like you said, the dynamics have to change. We need to consider many things into it, and it's a together. It's a collaborative decision. It's not just happens with your own thinking. You both the partners have to contribute towards it. And I know it's not easy because there are times even I had my ups and downs, like I said, but and I get upset, I get sad, but what I have discovered is I think it's okay to be upset and it's okay to feel sad. It's okay to just, if you want to yell and cry, that's okay. But it's not okay to remain in that situation for a long period of time. You have all choice to come out from it. You have all sources. Fortunately, we are living in the modern world where we have enough resources to just go adapt and do it. And I believe that it's just about the paradigm shift. You have to just concentrate on the things which makes you happy rather than you're trying to please others. There was a time where actually invariably I was trying to please others. I mean, I did not realize that's what I was doing because I couldn't say no to anybody. If they say something, I would just go and do it out of my box. But then invariably I was probably unconsciously thinking that they should acknowledge what I've done. And I've realized that over the period of time that they didn't ask me to do it. I just went and did that, what I did, because it made me happy. But then invariably I was expecting that, right? So I
And you
think
shouldn't have that expectation, because expectations are what kills
what kills
relationships.
everybody. Of course, unfortunately, this didn't go tangentially for a long period of time. I just discovered in between. So that's what I'm thinking. I realize it. And then there is another way people say that you need to keep yourself busy. And I agree that. I mean, keeping busy is a good thing because you won't be thinking of the elements which is actually making you upset for a period of time. And there will be always stuff around you which will make you upset. It just that you have to replace those thoughts into something else which is actually keep you busy and keeping you busy with what you like to do, what's your passion is. And
Yeah.
fortunately, I found my passion by being an RJ, and I'm loving the job, and it makes me immense happiness when I deliver any kind of research and when I contribute that. And with you, Saima, it's really a good opportunity that we both are able to deliver the same topic that we try to cover. That's one thing good. So I really found my passion. And of course, my second thing, like I said, I'm a proud Montessori teacher and I love working with this. And kids, the children teach me a lot.
Yeah.
They teach me that I've seen that one time there was two boys who were running in the playground and both of them fell.
Yeah.
So the one person was crying out loud. He was like, I thought that he really got hurt, and then I had to just go take him inside and check. And there was a very minor, unnoticeable scratch on his knee. But then he only that only made it calm down once I put a band-aid on his knee. When there's other person, he also fell down at the same time, and he was fine. He got up, he shrugged it, and he went back to play. But when I checked his knee, he got more hurt than the first person. But he didn't care, and same thing happens in our lives too. And that made me realize that yes, people are the same way. If something happens 10%, we really think and we magnify it to the 90%. And sometimes if you don't, it's still a 10%. For the other, second boy, it was still a 10%. He
See,
went and he
everyone's
played.
needs are different, right?
Yes. So I think again that comes back to where we come from again, because when I see the background of these two boys, the first boy had lost his father when he was very young, and he was being pampered by his surrounding families, his extended family. They always wanted to check on him, how he's doing. So that same thing, he was very little inconfident. I mean, he wasn't very sure. When it happens, he needs everybody to pamper him and ask him and
More
validate
attentive.
him, more at it and validate him. But the second boy he was brought up with a single mom, and he didn't care about things. He was fine, and I'm not saying that everybody has to go through that, but I think everybody has a different way of
Approaching life.
receiving things. Yeah, receiving things and projecting it or just minimizing it. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think no matter what life brings your way, it's important to focus on your personal growth and focus on building yourself, um, focus on building your children so that you instill in them strength and courage. Um, so no matter what life brings your way, um, you're constantly trying different things in life. One thing that you said was, I mean, that it's important to have hobbies. It's important to focus on different things because an empty mind is a devil's workshop. If you don't have things to do, you're just going to keep making a lot of noise. But if you have things to do, then your focus is in different direction instead of just focusing on if you're going through a bad marriage, if you're going through a divorce, if you're life challenges you every step of the way. If you're going through a phase of life where you're in the eye of the storm, then it's much better for you to have these different elements, aspects to your life to focus on, so that just don't focus on the calamity. You focus on the building aspect of your life, things which, where you're receiving the things which are giving you pleasure, things which bring you happiness, taking care of yourself, self growth, self reflection, personal growth, right? Because when you are feel fulfilled from within, you will find that inner strength to be able to fight the different challenges that life brings your way.
Absolutely true, and I agree every word that you said. And yes, marriage, like I say, it's a two. It's kind of like a wheel, and then the two wheels have to rotate in the same direction, and that's when it goes smoothly. But things do happen, and people do have to take a decision of divorcing and then going separate ways. But even in that case, I would say you need to maintain your dignity. Things go wrong even during the course of my divorce. I have seen my own close friends how the trauma that they went through. So they suggest that it has to be an amicable divorce. It's not easy, but
Do it
then
with kindness.
do it with kindness. They have to maintain the dignity. There are certain things that we can do, because once divorce is expensive at the first place, it is expensive. But once you have taken a decision, because your life is more expensive, more important than the bank balance that it shows at the end of the day, you can't live on that. And then especially in United States, many Asian women do not think of this because they may go out of status. They think that what happens if I go out of the marriage, I will be out of the status, and what happened to my kids. There's a lot of elements, Saima, that they still hold on to the tag. I said, I'm not going to leave this because this can happen. But again, I know even my friend who is a lawyer, she speaks that many Asian women say that I do not want a divorce. I just want somebody, just go to my husband and tell him that you can do this. But then she said, no, that's not what we do. Because if you come to us as a client and we are trying to help you, all we ask is, what do you want? It all depends, what do you want? And based on that, the lawyers move further, what the client wants. So I would say that whether it's a divorce, whether you're living in a marriage, rediscover yourself. What do you want? And try to just elevate those elements. And you have to just take a gingerly steps. Nothing happens over the period of time. It's just the baby steps that we have to take one day at a time. And definitely things will change or down the line.
And as we come to the end of our show, I think I would just like to reiterate the same thing that you said, Kalpana, that nothing should be more important than your peace of mind. Because if your soul is not at peace, you're going to go into anxiety, you're going to go into depression, you're going to feel unworthy, you're going to feel that whatever it is that your husband, or I shouldn't use the word husband, that your spouse is doing, that it has something to do with you, and perhaps there's something deficient in you, and that should not be the focal point. If you are at peace and you know that you've given it your best, this is something that is not good for both of you, and that the time has run out for that relationship, then it's much better to figure out how to distribute things and how to go in separate directions, because nothing
Absolutely.
in life is more important than your own mental well-being.
Thank you, Saima.
So, having said that, thank you, Kalpana, for being here, and thank you for sharing your thoughts. And it's a pleasure being on the radio show with you as well. All my guests, everyone, I mean, I think this is like the 46th or the 50th episode. And, so meeting with all these different people over this past year has just such different wavelengths, different perspectives, different insight into things. It just teaches you so much, helps you grow when you give a chance to other people from different walks of life, different places in the world, connecting from all over. They just leave you enriched, and so thank you as well.
Pleasure is all
For
mine,
sharing your
Saima.
wisdom. So have a
Pleasure is all
wonderful
mine.
evening. Thank you, Kalpana.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
Absolutely. So having said that, folks, we we have come to an end um, of our show. So thank you for being here, and thank you for being a part of my journey. And I'm going to end this right here.